is keep both your hands and you turn on the dome light if it's dark and you let the cop know immediately I have a weapon and you let him know I'm no threat. And it's just, they'll be online talking about, yeah, somebody come to my door, they're gonna have to climb over the bodies of their friends if a group of men come to my house and I'm ready, I'm strapped, whoa, 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 I wish somebody would try me. I pull up at the gas station and when Kia boys, carjackers come for my ride, man, I wish they would, man, and I go to this and that, and I ain't anybody, but here come a bloated police officer to violate your civil and human rights. Officer, I just want you to know that I am armed and I mean you no harm. And I'm like, man, this gun shit is weird. It seems like the whole black gun culture is about protecting your little material goods from other desperate black people. That's what it's all about. And that's why Zimmerman is the safe, walking around here safe as hell. Zimmerman is good in the hood. You got white boys all over the internet, Nazi saluting. And the last thing, ain't one racist in this country go to bed at night worried about a black man's gun. Now it's black people, black women, black children, and other black men that go to bed and wake up and step out of their front door. And the main threat in their forehead, in their cortex, is I hope I don't run into some black dude, belligerent black dude with a gun. So the guns in our community, we got more guns. Not only do we have more guns than we had at the height of Jim Crow, we got more experienced and well-trained people on how to use them, and we got more rights than we ever had. And that is because we have not defined reality. Power is defining reality and then working towards imposing that reality. Power is not comprehending or understanding your oppressor's reality and achieving within that. And generally, you can either be a victim of racism and an asset to your oppressor. So most of these achieving black people that we define as having power, Jay-Z, Dave Chappelle, Barack Obama, the myriad of black entrepreneurs and black CEOs, Pinky, Killer Mike, and your Greenwood Bank, most of the black people we define as having power are assets and allies of our oppressors. And they will tell us to conduct ourselves in such a way that does not threaten their personal income, even if it means failing or refusing to act on our collective dignity. And what's so jacked up about this is that white people have defined reality in such a warped and backwards way. Everything white people believe is a lie, even good white folks. And what's crazy is we are debating with white people about the proper or more accurate lie to tell. Everything, even good white, and I've talked to some, man, I've met some good white people. So I know a lot of white radicals. I know white anarchists. I know white socialists. I know white animal activists. I know radical white psychologists. I know revolutionary or communist or socialist white economists. I know some white people that are way out there. And when I get an opportunity to just talk informally to them, I find out that they are as big a victim of the white delusions as the racist and redneck and uneducated, unwashed white masses. They have illusions about everything. And the reason is that the reality that white people defined is not just unjust, it's unsustainable and impractical. This whole DEI discussion is absolute insanity. Only on an insane world where white people have defined reality can we be having a debate with white people about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the fact that we would even debate with them, that's like debating and having an argument with R. Kelly about child protection. That's like trying to debate Dr. Umar about proper budgeting and management for private schools. White people have no right to have a discussion because white people defining reality have defined reality as diversity, equity, and inclusion is black people getting unfair advantage, unworthy, unskilled black people being granted unjust opportunities that we have not deserved strictly based on the color of our skin. And they have promoted this idea, and there are even black people out here who's like, I don't care nothing about DEI. And there are white people walking around, legs unwashed, chicken unseasoned, Nutella all up in the cabinets or the cupboards, raisins all through their casserole, who are in their heads thinking there are black people out here getting things we don't deserve. That being black and having black skin is an asset and an advantage to us. And not only are they thinking this madness, we are out here arguing and trying to get them to understand it. White people are the primary recipients of unjust, unworthy, unearned advantages for hundreds of years. Everything they have, everything they cherish, and not just the physical thing, not just the wealth and the bombs and the land, but the ideas of justice, the ideas of democracy and freedom. Everything they have is a goddamn lie, and they have not earned it. And everything they claim to cherish that is good, they have corrupted and distorted. They got black people out here mad at science. Oh, I don't care nothing about no science, because they have so distorted all things that could be seen as good. And they will create robots that can do jobs that free humans from toil and danger. And instead of humanity saying, oh, I can frolic in the lilies, I can go to the beach, I can sit up like Bezos and Trump and do nothing and just have income, because there are now robots and artificial intelligence. They have, oh, my job's gonna be gone, I'm a starve. Things that you would think, you look at Star Trek and celebrate. You look at Star Trek and Star Wars and be like, wow, that's space age. But you look in the real world, it makes people despair. Shit is wild. And the fact, and for white people to do it, hey, like, it's like I say, white folks doing white folk shit. White folks are doing white folk shit. And so DEI means delusional. Their democracy is a lie. Their founding fathers were not great men. If every single founding father would be a multiple felony sex offender, if George Washington was here today, he'd be a registered sex offender. He'd be standing there in front of, sitting at an island in a kitchen, talking to Chris Hansen. Every single one of their founding fathers, old freaky ass, what's his name? Benjamin Franklin. Oh, nasty ass, predatory Thomas Jefferson. And every white boy, every white little white girl, little white boy walking around thinking, these are our founding fathers. And they believe they came from Knights of the Round Table. And historians are like, hey, knights were petty thugs. They were horrendous, the worst people in society. So everything, democracy. And these white folks sat down and said, white men who own land get to vote. We created the greatest democracy in the world. That's a big ass lie. And they have to stand on that lie. They convinced themselves the Confederates were fighting for states' rights and sovereignty. They were not fighting for slavery. They convinced themselves that they have given black people too much. They've given us too much freedom. They've given us too much opportunity. They've given us too many jobs. They've given us too much money. They've given us too many food stamps. They've given us too many housing vouchers. They've given so much to us, and we just squander it. And then we have Candace Owens and Thomas Sowells and all these other so-called black conservatives. And even some black liberals like Barack Obama that say we got to stop because we complain too much. Barack Obama told us to take off your house shoes and put on your work boots. It's a big lie. And I've never met a person that says, I love me some lies. I love lies. I love me some lies. Everybody claims to hate lies, but everybody lives lies. These white people are saying, oh, these liberals, these woke people want to groom our children. And then they go elect a man who was found guilty, who was found liable for the sexual assault of a woman. A man who has said on multiple public interviews that he wanted to have intercourse with his daughter. That if he wasn't his daughter's father, he'd be going to town on her at every opportunity. And there are black people, mainly black men, who believe that Trump does want to protect us. Trump does want to protect us from predators. When Trump is on record saying him and, what's that guy's name? You can buy this for $9.50. You can't copy it. It has a watermark. But you can just get this one for free without the watermark. That was the whole photo shoot. Freaky ass cracker, he's a 6'9" god. Freaky ass cracker, you a 6'9" guy. Hey, yeah, Epstein. Trump is on record saying him and Epstein are cool as hell. And he said Epstein's like him young. He said I like him young, and Epstein likes him younger. And these same people walk the streets saying we're here to protect children. We will not let the woke mob call our small children transgender and hack off their breasts, as if small children have breasts that could be hacked off. They ran on a lie talking about children who identify as furries or children who identify as cats get litter boxes. Bold-faced lies. And there are black people that believe this shit. The bugger has no shame. The bugger has no shame, and they sent him back to office. But here's the thing about that. White lies destroy white people. Black people, our position is fixed. Their agenda for us has never changed. Black people were brought to this country for the enrichment, comfort, entertainment, and servitude to the white masses. That has never changed. They might have reformed it. They had to adjust and tweak that. But our purpose for being here, this is white folks' business. This is white folks who like, we stole this land. And they'd say, we didn't steal anything. The people who invaded and stole the land, the natives are still here on the land, and the natives are still under a campaign of genocide and exploitation. The Native Americans, the people who have lived here since recorded history, the mound builders, the Iroquois Confederacy, these native people are still here today. The United States still has active treaties and agreement with these people on their territories. They are still here. In the United States, the Native American people have the highest rates of poverty, the highest rates of chronic disease, the highest rates of incarceration per capita, the lowest life expectancy. There is a genocide going on here. I say it all the time. The last time I went to a rally for the Congo and to protest the genocide in the Congo and Palestine, and people, white folks, came from all over the country, and I'm like, white people had to literally fly over genocides in America to protest the genocide in Africa and Palestine. And they literally sat there, sipping the tea, sitting there eating that lame ass airport. I don't know how. I mean, Let me tell you, the airlines are really bad when it comes to vegan meals. And they love telling you, oh, we have vegan meals. They're so excited to tell you they have vegetarian or vegan options. And it's always the wacky shit. And so you're sitting there eating your vegetarian, vegan options, because if you're flying from the West Coast to Chicago to protest genocide, I'm pretty sure you're ordering a vegetarian meal. And you're sitting there eating that lame-ass meal, and you're flying over one genocide that you're ignoring to protest the genocide that's hot in the streets, that's popular and trending now. And these are the good white people. These are our allies. Lies, delusions. White people are extremely delusional. White people not only deny that they owe us reparations, they believe that, like I said, we owe them. We should be grateful to them. And you're going to try to reason with this psychopath, the race of psychopath. Bobby E. Wright said, in relationship to African people, whites have conducted themselves as psychopaths. And I'm going to review that next. I got a couple of books I'm going to come out within the next couple of weeks and do a review, because we really got to push this psychopathic racial personality thing. And I mean your liberal friends, the white people you play cards with, or shoot pool, or throw darts, or go axe throwing with. White people got some cool hobbies I can't front. So they are delusional. They are also exclusionary. And when I say white people are exclusionary, they don't just exclude you from their shit. They exclude you from your shit. They will come into your land and make you, isolate you, and put you in a concentration camp in your own land. They will come to your land and put you on a reservation. They will come to your land and put you in the West Bank or Gaza Strip. They will come to your land, build a military base, or build a gated community in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, and build a gated community and kick you out your own shit. Because nobody wants, why ain't nobody went to Europe for any other reason than to get back what was taken. Ain't nobody come to America for no other reason to get back what they were taking. And they believe, and white folks have, through their delusion, have taught themselves, people are coming here for our freedoms. They are coming here for our liberty. And the very white folks on TikTok talking about American freedom and liberty, if you look in their mailboxes, it'd be a dozen collection notices and a goddamn eviction note taped on their front door. And it's so weird that when white people get a little taste of hardship that they voted for, I say this all the time too, white people's wounds are self-inflicted. The poverty, drug, and all the other social ills that white people deal with are self-inflicted wounds. These are shits they voted for since they put Nixon in office and then put Reagan in office. White folks have been voting against their own class interests since black people got the right to vote. And so they're exclusionary. They cannot coexist in peace with people unless they are abusing them. I'll say that again. White people cannot coexist with other people in peace. That's the end of the sentence. White people have not demonstrated the ability to coexist in peace with other people. Now, we thought, since white people moved to a neighborhood, because you notice these places I talked about, the Native American reservations, the American ghettos, the West Bank and Gaza Strip, the gated communities on the African continent that white people set up, the military bases where the U.S. imperial forces go and set up, and they'll go to a Muslim nation and put up a pork chop restaurant right in the middle of the military base, and they treat the military base like it's sovereign American territory, violating the customs and norms of the society they're in. But one thing you always notice is they got to have the help. It was so weird that white people were like, we don't want no nigger going, I don't want no nigger going to school. Even like Biden said, he don't want his son's school to become a jungle. I mean, I've been an atheist since I was 14 years old, but one thing that made me believe in the supernatural forces, the one thing that made me believe in a mighty force for justice emanating from the universe was Biden's kids. Because Biden did everything in his power to make sure his kids did not grow up around blacks. And he got, and I'm going to be crass here because it's a nasty topic. He got kids that went out like a couple of niggas. One of your kids is as the nigga, the black stereotype. Your sons both went out like stereotypes. Because black people, we've been unhealthy in this country. Our health and life expectancy is always one son dead. One son dead from a disease. From an early death. How old was Bo? How old was he? Let me see. I don't know what it is. First child died in a car accident. Second child died of cancer. And the third child is a zombie. His current son is a goddamn drug zombie. Old freaky ass cracker. He is 6'9". Guy's first son is old freaky nasty. And one of his sons got like a sex worker pregnant, and they not claiming that child. And then that son went to sleep with the widow of his dead brother. I'm like, man. And this is how, you notice how white folks, when they talk about black stereotypes, they're projecting how they behave onto us. You ever notice that? But anyway, what I was saying is, during this whole segregation thing, and we singing "We Shall Overcome" and nonviolent resistance, and we misread that history and that strategy to think we were trying to get close to white folks. We were trying to get close. White people make us sit in the back of the bus. White folks won't let us go to school with them. White folks won't let us drink at a fountain. White folks won't let us stay in their hotels. White folks won't let us sit next to them at a soda fountain or soda I think they were called soda fountain. White folks was pushing us away, making us live off in the bad areas. We want to be able to. They won't let us buy houses in their developments. White folks never had a problem being close to us. All when them same white people that were out there saying, I don't want my son to go to school with a black, they were suckled at a black woman's breast. White people who claim they can't be anywhere near us had black wet nurses suckling, drinking the milk. Those racist white people were suckled at the breast of a black woman. They had black people in their kitchen, cooking their food, mending their underwear. They had black men doing everything. They had black men serving the food, playing the fiddle. White people had no issue with being all up against us. And when we would run away from them, they'd chase us down. How can you claim you don't want to be around nobody when you're running through a fucking swamp in the middle in the pitch dark with bloodhounds chasing somebody when then you claim, get away from me? And so the reality is white people only have an issue being around empowered people. If you are non-white and you conduct yourself with dignity and you call them on their bullshit, that's when you got to get away. Snoop Dogg can come. Floyd Mayweather can be all up. And Elon Musk can kick it and hang out with Dave Chappelle. A lot of your affluent white friends, a lot of the white people you're around, a lot of you call you N-word behind your back. But if they find out they can call you an N-word and a monkey and a bird head to your face and they can rub your head for duck or goose you, you'll get closer. So it's not about proximity, it's about power. If they can exercise and abuse and use their power over you, you can get in there. And a lot of black people understand that. A lot of black people understand that. Even Obama's like, I'm safe, boss. They were like, you get to be president. When you ever seen a president do some shit like this? When you ever seen a president playing in horse playing? When he was in office, he's a good one. He put you in a headlock, boy, and post it all over the world. Show me a picture of Nixon. Show me another picture. And black people went, no, just forget a president. Show me a black man. Show me a black mechanic you can play like that. Not even my sons came and play. I don't play like that. I'm a black man. My sons, my nephews come and do this shit. We fighting for real. We won't do that. Maybe if my wife's feeling a little ditty, we can play. But maybe. But beyond that, what kind of man? But if they know you can go as far in this world as you want. And a lot of these black elites don't want to tell us the level of indignities they suffer. Because they want to come back to us. Hey, I just keep it real. But you're right. I'm just trying to drive home. Ain't no average. Go find a black dude in your life that you cool with, that you can just put your hands around their neck playing. Find me an adult black man that play like that. Find one. You did this to a former president. Where the hell was Secret Service? Obama has Secret Service protection for the rest of his life. And even if you play like that, how did it get? And this thing was everywhere. On magazines, in the Guardian, in the Times of New York. Okay, let me rephrase that. Show me a black man that's worthy of anybody of black people's respect that you can. We just don't play like that. Like I said, unless it's our intimate other. But beyond that, if we ain't getting freaky, I don't even like doing it to myself. I'm mad at myself just demonstrating that shit. Okay, where was I? Oh, so the exclusion that white people impose on other races is not based on they're so white and pure and they can't have us there. Because whenever they build these elite exclusive places, they like to fill them with non-whites to do their bidding, to satisfy their needs, and not just their physical needs, but their mental, sick, psychological needs. So delusions and exclusionary. And finally, they're insecure as fuck. White people need constant validation. White men have been the hero of the world for the first 100 years of cinema. White men for comics. When I read comics, all the heroes were white. I had He-Man. I used to love Thundar the Barbarian. You could go to an alien world 50 million galaxies away from Earth, and it's still a white man there being the hero and the champion. I used to love Flash Gordon and him beating the shit out of the Asian Ming the Merciless. I was really into comics and fashion and action figures. And then you have all these G.I. Joes, and all the ethnic G.I. Joes had the Indian spirit. This dude's on a modern battlefield with tanks and machine guns, and he had an eagle. He had a damn eagle. That shit was crazy. And I wanted this I wanted this action figure so bad. But white folks is like, if we're gonna have some ethnics around, if we're gonna have some ethnics sullying up our action figure collection, that's insecurity. You couldn't just have a Native American soldiers. Native Americans have been helping white folks win their war since the white man came here and stole their land. Native Americans helped white folks win the war against other Native nations. They had white folks, Tarzan. They helped white folks win World War I. They were doing code talkers. White folks been helping. So you could create an Indian soldier without giving him a goddamn eagle and have him wear feathers. Why couldn't you see he has the Native American Apache or warrior apron on? So even when they gave us soldiers, and every black hero has to be a muscle macho man. Just can't be a regular dude. Can't be an intelligence operative. Remember Roadblock? A big dumb jock. And these are for the ethnic characters. This dude got a gun that he shouldn't even be able to carry. And I wanted me a Roadblock. And Roadblock would use weapons that were supposed to be mounted on tanks and be mounted on you're not supposed to be carrying that shit. He gonna get prostate cancer carrying this giant ass and they're not gonna pay for it. They have these big penis guns. White folks, man, y'all need to read Frances Cress Welsing. I got a lot of criticisms of her, but when she's right, she's right. He always got the big guns. You know, I get Duke or somebody, he got a cool ass pistol and I can pose him in all kind of ways. But I got the fucking black G.I. Joe, and I got, you know, he leaning on it, he can't even stand up. So all I'm saying is white men have been the main heroes in everything. The main heroes. And they might throw in Tomb Raider or White Girl from time to time. But then they was like, hey, let's sprinkle in some Asian and black heroes. And white boys lost their shit. White boys are like, I'm joining the Nazi party tomorrow. I went to see Star Wars and I saw a black with a lightsaber. You can be Lando Calrissian up in the goddamn Cloud City, far and away from the action, a sniveling little, but no, you don't get no lightsaber. And white boys can't stand it. They're losing their shit. I don't know if you dwell in like the gaming, comic, action, adventure, fantasy world. They have lost their shit. Woke. You go anti-woke. White boys have made multimillionaires out of dudes who just come on the internet and say, this is woke, go work and work. They are insecure as fuck. Black people have been under oppression since the founding, since the 1500s, since before, over a century before the United States was ratified and defined as a country. We were here getting our asses kicked for nothing. And we don't go Nazi. White folks show up and there are no eggs at the store and they start Nazi. They start fucking going Nazi over nothing. A white boy get cut off in traffic and is ready to be a Nazi. And he didn't even see who cut him off. He just said, look, it had rims. It must have been a black guy. Hate blacks. They are extremely pathologically insecure. And so there are white people who Trump is going to hurt. There are white people in this country who Trump is going to fuck. He's already fucked. He fucked his first 4 terms. White people have not recovered from, white people who got health insurance from Obama and got some economic recovery from Biden. And in between that, the 2 Trumps, they suffered. But here's the thing with a white person. A white person can be living in a trailer without plumbing or electricity. His teeth can rot out of his mouth. And the only thing he owns of value is a few guns and a truck. He has no access to education. He has no future prospect. But if that white boy can turn on his TV and see black people being brutalized and demonized, and see Latin people who are his brothers, most of these Latin people are white. You don't believe me? Go to Latin America and call them brown. These are conquistadors. Other white people, seeing people who come from Latin American countries being rounded up. A white man can suffer any indignity as long as he thinks, don't even have to be true, that non-white people are suffering more. A white man will surrender his social safety net. White people will give up their social security. They will give up their access to insurance. They will give up, Biden gave them fucking $15 limit on insulin. There's a white diabetic MAGA Republican right now who, once he finishes with his last bit, and Trump's already working on a new plague. Go look at the CDC. Is not allowed to release any reports. Trump is already working on another plague. Every report coming out of the CDC has to be approved by a Trump appointee. So now public health has been politicized, but y'all believe, okay, no CDC. Because a lot of these agencies work in the background, and y'all think y'all don't need it. You think you fall for a lot of the propaganda that the white people do. So the CDC, right, the FDA, they already, this bird flu, shit is real. The next plague is on, it's like, y'all need to, do whatever preparations, whether that's, but I digress. White people are extremely insecure, and they get vitality. They get hope for the future through cruelty and suffering of non-whites. They get ecstasy from other people's suffering. So you can tell them, well, these brown people and put those kids in cages, build a wall. They've got these contraptions on the Rio Grande. If someone tries to swim across, there's these buoys with saws, and Trump's going to impoverished countries. And Trump and telling them we're going to dump all these refugees and they don't have the resources. Let me tell you something. This country is not overrun by immigrants. That is a falsehood. And let me tell you something. An immigrant has never taken your job. An immigrant cannot take anybody's job. Let me tell you something. Nobody takes a job. You, as an American citizen, fully skilled, can't take a job. I've had employers, when I was a radiographer, calling me, trying to woo me away from one facility to the next. And even in that situation, I can't take a job. A job cannot be taken. And like I said all the time, these people only talk about taking a job. Like I said, if you go up to somebody and say, hey, how you doing? I took a job. They'll be like, what are you talking about? Jobs are given by the capitalists or their agents. The managers, the hirers, the human resources grant you a job and they can take it away from you. You don't take a job and you can be working a job for 30 years. That job does not belong to you. When you walk away from that job, the job remains and you go. You belong to the job. The job don't belong to you. The job was granted to you and given to you temporarily. You're weirdos, freak skeezers and weirdos. So all that to say, all these delusions, all these lies, all this insecurity, white people were like, fuck the democracy. And the only reason white people are voting away their own democracy is because the white elites have told them a lie and saying, hey, it's not capitalist and it's not capitalism. It's not the elites. All of your suffering, the chronic diseases and ailments that you have from the pollutants and toxins in your environment, that's not your problem. the economic insecurity you're experiencing because the banking and investment system has been deregulated to the point where all of the wealth and reoriented, where all of the wealth is being concentrated at the top, and the protections that you have as far as jobs, unemployment, and income protections, pensions are gone. Labor and work stability has been slowly eroded by the politicians you voted for, the right-wing conservative, and on both ends. Clinton was a conservative. And they tell you NAFTA and GATT. NAFTA came out of the same place. NAFTA, that white folks hate, GATT came from the exact same place as Project 2025. The exact same think tanks with the exact same white folks get behind. And you know, if George Soros gave Kamala Harris $250 million and she became president, these white folks would be back in the White House, back in the Capitol, smearing feces. And why don't y'all talk about white people on Jan 6 smearing feces? Why don't y'all talk about that? Why do y'all, if black people, if it was a Black Lives Matter rally and white black people went to a Confederate statue and smeared their feces on it, we'd hear about it every day. But white people ran up in the State House in the Capitol building on Jan 6, and they had to bring in hazardous materials groups because they had put so much of their own feces and urine, and it wasn't just on the floor. It wasn't. They had smeared it on the desk of the Democratic Congress people and senators. They smeared it on the walls in the old paintings. And y'all don't talk about it. I feel like I'm the only person that mentions it. And then people, when I say it, some people have to pull out their phone and run to Google to verify it. And like I said, you go to one black protest, because we're going to have a lot of protests coming up, and find one turd at a Black Lives Matter rally, and it would be on Fox News every damn day. And we have let this slide for 5 years now. But anyway, time's up, and I don't have time for Q&A. I'll make time for Q&A. Please like, share, subscribe. I have some things, man. We got a lot of work to do. Thank you, Roman. Your name is Roman, and you got a comedic image. But I suppose, get in where you fit in. Thank you, Roman. Let me not criticize. Brothers showing support and love. And you can too. And I'll try to refrain from criticizing you. You can become a Patreon, Cash App, Venmo. You help a brother out. Thank you. Sustain. Look for that psychopathic, because I mean, the psychopathic race, it's not even a book, it's a pamphlet. I've read it several times, so I'm gonna do a book review on that, because these folks, white folks, are the race of psychopaths. They are engaged in collective insanity, and they have no capacity for collective shame. That if I could impose, if I met a wizard or a genie, or if I could pray to a God that actually existed, I would say, what do you want to give white folks? And I wouldn't be cruel. I wouldn't say give them boils, give them all time. I would say, I want to give white people in America the capacity for collective shame. I want to give white people in the United States the capacity for collective shame. And white people don't even know what it is. Like, white people don't sit on a couch at home with their family and hear a report about a cannibal child molester. And they don't sit there and be like, oh, I hope he's not a white guy. I hope he's not a white guy. Please don't let it be a white guy. But black people will hear something like 2 men were stabbed together in a fight over fried chicken. And black people are like, oh, don't let it be a black person. Because if a black person conducts themselves in a manner that is not apropos for societal standards and sentiments, black people, we feel collective shame and embarrassment. But we also are able to, and that's bad for us. We shouldn't, but we do. And in a way, I think I'm glad we had that capacity, even though it's abused and misused. And we also have the capacity for collective joy. We see y'all weird, not me, but y'all see Kendrick Lamar perform at the Super Bowl, and y'all be like, yeah, for the culture, and all that bullshit. So, but I have not seen white people demonstrate the capacity for collective shame. From chattel slavery to inventing nuclear bombs, to using nuclear bombs, to electing Trump and supporting Trump as a majority. They have no capacity for shame. You know, if Obama conducted himself, people used to always say, if Obama did what Trump did, he'd be in jail. Not only would he be in jail, black people would stop supporting him. If he went on, if there was a recording that popped up and he said, what's Obama's daughter's name? Shasha? If he was like, man, Shasha wasn't my daughter, boy, I'd be breaking that off. If there was a recording of that emerged, we would be like, oh shit, Obama's bringing us down. But white dude, they can have animal brothels and all that shit, and they don't have the bugger. Professor Mackey at his lectures, I went to several of his lectures. Rest in peace, one of our greatest ancestors. Professor William Mackey said that his grandmother would always say, she was Gullah Geechee. So she would say in her Gullah Geechee accent, the bugger got no shame. Whenever she hear about white folks and doing what they do, whether it's invading Grenada or inventing some other weird ass weapons, sound weapons, radiate weapons, melting the polar ice, she would always say the bugger got no shame. And one of the things I think that they're lacking, that they have not really exhibited the capacity for. And I think if they had the capacity to feel shame, maybe they that would help cultivate empathy and help cultivate other. And I'm not saying I could be wrong, and I could have wasted my wish. But I've seen that in other groups of people. I've seen Asian people, brothers and sisters from the continent, always like, you better not make us look bad. They always telling their offspring and kinfolk, don't make us look, don't bring us down. I've never interacted or seen a white person in a public eye saying this is really bad for white folks. The only thing they think is bad for them is they lose a conflict. Like, okay, we slaughtered and committed genocidal conflict and we contaminated the land of Vietnam and we lost. This is bad for us. And what's bad for them is that they had to retreat. They never say, well, look at the horrendous things we did. There's kids right now born, babies born without craniums. You ever seen a baby born without a cranium, no cranial formation, and the brain is mush in skin because of the Agent Orange and other toxic chemicals they dropped over there? And then they go make movies. And the movies are sympathetic to the murderous soldiers, not the freedom fighters and resistance. They're making movies about snipers who are committing war crimes in Iraq and people are cheering them on. They just came up with a series of Black Hawk Down, imperialists. And then at the one time, they make movies based on history showing the colonizers as wicked and evil. And then they'll make a movie about the Roman Empire or a movie about fascists in space. And a white man can go and watch Star Wars and root for Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and boo the Emperor and say boo for Darth Vader and then take his weird ass to the voting booth and vote for Donald Trump or vote for Empire in general and not see any. They are the DEI. They are the DEI, not us. White folks benefit from DEI, not us. And stop attacking DEI. Say DEI stands for delusional, exclusionary, and insecure. Y'all the DEI motherfuckers, not us. And I guess that's it. And thank you for your contributions. Thank you for helping to support African World Order and the Bro Diallo broadcast and the 2 channels. It is appreciated and needed equally, if not more appreciated. No, it's more needed than appreciated. But I appreciate it as much as possible. I don't know how to quantify that. So I'll say equally. And until next time, thank you. I'll see y'all Friday.